Before we start, a few housekeeping points. We've disabled all microphones and cameras automatically to keep things running smoothly. This webinar is being recorded and you will be sent a link to the download of the recordings tomorrow. We do have the QA function enabled. If you have any questions whilst I go through the webinar, please use this. And I've set aside 10 minutes at the end to go through these questions. If you prefer to contact us privately, our contact details are included at the end of the webinar. So, if you don't know much about LILIN, here's a brief overview. We are a Taiwanese manufacturer, not a Chinese OEM as many think. We were established in 1980, which makes us 40 years old this year. We were going to have a lot of celebrations as it's very unique and we're one of the only few manufacturers of this age, but it looks like that will be delayed for the time being. Our UK branch office opened in 1999 and was established as the hub of our European operation. We've always made video surveillance products, and in 2008, we transitioned from analog to IP. You may know us from the custom install market, which we entered in 2013 when we delivered our first IP-based automation driver for Control 4. So, in the first part of the webinar today, we'll be looking at our temperature measuring solutions. We have 3 solutions available: camera on its own, camera with an NVR, and a camera with an AI server. So first of all, we'll look at the camera on its own. And I've got a little promotional video made by Taiwan, which I'll play to give you an idea of what it can do, and then we'll look into the camera in more detail. Okay, so actually let's have a look at the camera itself, the P3T6522E2-F. It comes in a turret style camera and it's a dual lens camera. It offers a 16 by 12 pixels for a temperature sensor, 1080p HD color image, a 0.5 degree accuracy. You may have seen in the video, we have face detection to prevent false alarms, and we'll run through that later as well. Just like many of our other cameras, it has multiple alarm and smart event outputs. And we can also set the threshold to a specific threshold before it creates those alarms. So I'm now going to show you a quick video of what to expect when you get the camera out of the box. My friend John from the US has done a nice video, which I'll just play a short clip from for you.
Hi, this is John Bruce of LILIN Americas. I'm here at LILIN's US headquarters testing out our new temperature measuring camera. Let's talk about it. So let's go ahead and get started by showing you what actually comes in the box. So right now I'm going to be unboxing the P3T6522E2-F. So this is a temperature measuring camera. The -F is what lets us know that this actually has face detection as well. And we'll get into why that's important. So we have a small bag of accessories that has the Allen key as well as some screws. We're going to need that in just a minute. We also have with each one of these cameras a tripod adapter. So I'm going to go ahead and get that attached to the camera as well. And then of course we have the camera itself. So first things first, let's go ahead and get the base attached to the tripod adapter. So we remove the base and then we use the pre-drilled holes and the provided Phillips head screws to get those two tightened together to one another. And then we take that base and we feed the camera's pigtail through the pre-cut holes, and then we simply retighten the set screw to keep that base firmly in place. We then take our tripod and simply screw it into the available hole at the bottom of the tripod adapter. So let's quickly go over a couple of important setup parameters. First, this camera is intended only for indoor use. It is not meant to be used outdoors or in direct sunlight. Second, we want to make sure that when we're reading temperatures that we're within a controlled temperature environment where the temperature is between 68 and 75 degrees Fahrenheit or 20 to 24 Celsius. And we want to make sure that the environmental humidity in our environment is between 10 to 60%. Finally, it's important to make sure that the camera is mounted high enough. Ideally, we want this camera to be on top of a tripod or similar structure mounted at least 6 feet or 200 centimeters above the ground, where the subject's forehead is going to come within 50 to 80 centimeters from the camera's lens and sensor. With all of these setup parameters being followed and taken into consideration, we're ready to begin reading temperatures. So here we can see the camera's web interface, and I'm using this camera as a standalone unit. So I enter the frame, I stand still for about 3 to 5 seconds to allow the camera to get a good read, and then I exit the frame. In order to simulate what would happen if a person with an elevated temperature enters the frame, I go ahead and I use my hot coffee cup here to heat up the temperature of the surface skin on my face, and then I stand in front of the camera and you can see that it is now reading an elevated temperature. Some of you may already be familiar with some solutions that exist in the market already, where there is a black body in the background that is used sort of to calibrate the camera's temperature reading capabilities. Our camera actually doesn't make use of a black body in the background. That's because we allow for manual adjustment of the temperature calibration. So I'll go ahead and show you how to get that done here. So again, we log into the camera's web interface. We click on the Setup button up in the upper right-hand corner. And then toward the upper middle, there's a button called Smart Event. We click here, and then the bottom left, we click Temperature Detection. And you'll notice that near the bottom, there's actually a grid of 12 by 16 pixels showing different temperature readings. That's actually the readings coming off of the thermopile sensor in the camera, which is then overlaid to the image. This is how we get temperature readings from different sectors of the image when we're actually reading temperatures. Toward the bottom here, we can actually see a field for calibration. So we can go ahead and enter a plus or minus number and then submit. And then we can see each of the thermopile sectors adjust up or down based on what we've entered to the calibration field. As a best practice, we recommend that you use an infrared thermometer or some other similar FDA-approved device to scan the subject's head and then use that to inform what you enter into the calibration field. In addition to the standalone temperature measuring camera, as we've shown in this video, LILIN also offers 2 other solutions, including a 4-channel PoE NVR in order to record up to 4 of these temperature sensing cameras, as well as a mask detection AI server that can be paired with the camera, so you can get temperature scans as well as a read on whether or not each subject is wearing a mask properly. Please be on the lookout for videos covering these solutions as well.
So that was a great introduction video to the camera. So I just want to go over a few of the best practice tips again. These are really important. So of course, the camera is internal use only. We recommend that the subject is between 50 to 80 centimeters away from the camera for an accurate reading. Please make sure that you install the camera in a position where there's no direct sunlight going to be hitting the camera. Also try to avoid reflective backgrounds to minimize the IR reflection. We also recommend you use a waiting area and a retest area after measuring the temperature, and also a second method to confirm the fever or not. Of course, one person at a time for optimum reads. So set the camera up at least 180 to 200 centimeters and 50 to 80 centimeters away from your target. So now I'm actually going to run through a few of the menus a little bit slower than in the previous videos you've seen. So we're going to go ahead and look at a camera browser. So we're logging into the camera. The camera itself uses a username and password. The password has to be uppercase, lowercase, and symbol in there for security. So we log into the camera. And this is Jasmine from our office, and you can see the temperature looks a little bit different from the temperature in John's video. This is because I haven't activated the face detection yet. I wanted to show you how it's reading the whole of the image here. So Jasmine's about 34 to 35 degrees, but now she's holding a hot cup of water, and you can see straight away we're now picking up that cup of water and we're showing 40 degrees. So of course the alarm's going to go. This is a high reading. So how can we stop that? Well, to explain it a little bit more, I'll just show you in the menus. You go to advanced mode, smart event, and I just want to show you in temperature detection, again, that grid of 12 by 16. So we can see the hot cup of water is picking up at 40 degrees, so way too hot. So what I'm going to do now is enable face detection. So I simply click on face detection on the left-hand side, edit, and enable. Now, all I'm going to read is the temperature around Jasmine's face. So I'm actually going to ignore that hot cup of water now. So we can see, even though she still has a cup of water in her hand, we are only reading, and it's still registering here, of course, but for the purpose of our reads, we're interested in the temperature of the face, the forehead. Okay, and there we go. So we're only reading the forehead, regardless of any of the temperature. The next short video I'm going to run is how to calibrate the unit. So here we're using a handheld infrared sensor. We can see the temperature is 36.9. However, on my camera itself, I was only getting around 34. So I need to calibrate the camera. We recommend you calibrate the camera between 2 and 3 times a day, depending on how the lighting and the heat in the environment is changing, and also the humidity. So I have a plus and minus figure there in my calibration. So I put +3 on because of my temperature. And now when Jasmine reads herself again, she's going to be 36.9, and you can see the camera itself is reading between 39.8 and 37. So I'm happy with that. And that's how easy it is to calibrate this camera. So this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to calibrate the camera, but I'm deliberately going to do it really high so that Jasmine will trigger the alarm, because I want you to hear the audible alarm and also see the red box that surrounds on the web browser, because this is what you would see if you had the camera as a standalone solution. So in the calibration, I put it at +6, so she's obviously going to measure really hot. You can see there straight away how hot the areas look. When I go live, it's going to read her temperature too high. It's going to create a red box and an audible sound. just going to go in and recalibrate the camera so the audible sound's not going off. Now, because we've created an alarm and the camera is a smart alarm camera, just like any other camera, we can now create events based on the readings. So under Smart Event, I'm able to set an alarm based on over temperature. So edit, create the event, temperature detection. So every time we go over my temperature threshold, which again you can set, I can set an event, such as a push notification. So this is to your mobile phone. I could do an email or even a HTTP post. So this is for control systems. And we also have FTP service there as well. So lots of available alarms for you. So just a quick summary of the camera as a standalone solution. Dual lens, 0.5 degree accuracy, face detection to prevent false alarms, and multiple alarm and smart event outputs, all packaged in a turret-style chassis camera. We'll just have a last little look at a video showing it as a standalone solution. Access denied. So that was the camera on its own. The next solution we have is a camera and NVR. We sell this as a package. I will show you a video summarising this, and then we'll go into it in more detail and slow it down part by part for you. So don't worry if you can't keep up with this video. It is quite quick moving. So that was a little video showing some of the features that we'll be going through on the next few slides. So the MVR is the MVR 51T4E. It's a 4-channel MVR with integrated PoE ports. Each port can offer up to 11 watts of power. It's 4K resolution on it as well. And of course, the main feature of this is it integrates with our temperature camera, so it will display the temperature on the screen as you saw. We can then create alarms such as a audio buzzer on the MVR, a video pop-up on the MVR, alarm snapshots, or push notifications to the app. So let's go ahead and have a quick look at the setting up of the camera. So in this first video, I've actually already added the camera to the MVR, like in the video you saw from Taiwan. But what I'm going to do is show you the first things you need to do to activate it to be able to use it as a temperature reading camera. So the camera's been added. I'm going to first of all go to alarm. Here, I'm going to go to motion enable and activate this to on. This is because I want the MVR to see the face detection part of the camera, so the face detection alarm. I then go to metadata on the left, and I'm turning on the metadata, so the text overlay onto the MVR image. So I go to camera 1, which is the camera I'm using, serial input, I put in channel 1, metadata to on, and then I need to go into the mode and select temperature. Now that I've done that, I have the option for temperature and face, which is what I want, because I don't want just the environmental temperature, I want temperature and face. And that's now set, so the camera will now read the temperature from the camera, the NVR will. So this is the web browser we're looking at the moment. Steve has come through, and on the web browser we also have the text overlay as well when we're using Chrome. So we're picking up Steve's face. Crazy eyes. Here's a recording of the HDMI output. So this is actually the HDMI output from the monitor of the MVR. I've used some something to grab it. So this is exactly what you would see if you had a monitor connected to the MVR, and you can see it's reading my temperature there at about 36.2, 36.3. Just measure it, calibration, I'm coming through at 36.9. So I just adjust the camera slightly. So now I've added the camera, I want to look at things like creating alarms and what to do if you are over temperature. So I'm going to go into the alarm again, and I'm going to go across to metadata pop-up down in the bottom right-hand side. I'm going to turn that to on, and I'm actually going to put some text that I want to appear on the screen when somebody's over temperature. So I'm just going to write over temp. Now, as I've only got one camera, this isn't so important, but you could have a quad display, so 4 different cameras. So I would want, when somebody is over temperature, it to pop up full screen for me. Yeah, so I have the choice of a view over quad. If I say no, I want to pop up full screen camera, camera number 1. So if we were looking at a quad, it would jump to camera 1 and show over temperature on the screen. Now that I've done that, I'm going to output, and now I'm in the output. I'm just going to go to channel events, temp on face, and that's going to make the alarm LED of the MVR buzz, and then the buzzer as well. Okay. That's all set up. So now let's have a look at how that looks on the HDMI output. So I'm going to use, like John did in his video and Jasmine did, a hot cup of water. I'm going to bring it right up to my face, so it's in my face to create the alarm. There, the over temperature warning comes up on the screen on the HDMI output, and it also jumps to camera 1. That's why you saw that little flick, even though it was already on camera 1. Now, let's have a look at how we view those events. So this is the HDMI output again, and we can see at the top, there's a little symbol with 25. This means I've had 25 different events. So I use my mouse to navigate to the icon. We can see I've got time and date searches on the left. I've got different alarms for being over temperature there and motion, and I can filter those alarms, and I can also filter the camera. So I'm going to filter the alarm. I'm just looking for somebody who's over temperature. Then when I hit search, once I've specified my search criteria, there's the over temperature alarms from today. I can then highlight any of the alarms and go straight to playback from this page. Playback starts. Now we're in playback. You can see I also have an alarm panel bar at the bottom where I have different motion alarms. So this will be the face detection alarms, and also the meta alarm, which will be the over temperature alarm, because I'm not interested if somebody's under temperature, only if they're over. And I can jump straight to that playback event through that. Of course, the MVR has normal playback as well, which I'm doing now. So it's just a normal calendar search where I can specify the time and date and hit playback. So I have two ways of viewing events, through the sensor search events or through playback. But again, once I'm in playback, I still get this handy little bar at the bottom with all the events that I can scroll through to retrieve the information quickly. So that's playback on the MVR itself via the HDMI. We've been looking at some of the browser. I've been setting it up with a browser today. So let's have a look at playback if we were using a browser. So simple tab at the top for play. Once we start this, it's going to load an event bar at the bottom. So here it's all these little tabs and color tabs are different events. So these are the over temperature events from today, the metadata, and then the yellow is the motion events. I can highlight an event and go straight to playback from that if I wish, but I'm going to close it down for now and show you the other search filters we have. So using this drop-down bar, I can just go to temp and face, select the date. Here's all the images with the temperature of person over my set temperature parameters. Highlight the one I want, go to playback, and playback will start. It's all very simple. So we've had a look at how to set the camera for the on-screen text, how to set the alarms for if you're over temperature and how you want them displayed, and playback also. One of the most sought after features is, of course, push notifications. Everybody wants to use apps in this day and age. So how do we set that? So go to alarm and to output at the top. On my output, this is where we set up our alarm LED and buzzer on the MVR itself. I just go to notification, channel events, camera 1. I want to be notified if there's a temperature and face alarm. Apply. Save the settings. Now, of course, you're going to have to already have the MVR added to your LILIN viewer app, which of course I have. So let's have a look at a short video. What I'm going to do here is actually hold my phone up to the monitor so you can see a live HDMI output here being recorded and how quickly the app is push notification comes through. So no editing can be done here at all. This is all real. So I hold the cup to get over temperature. The MVR is gone. Look at my mobile phone here. I've got a notification already. I can then click on that notification and it will open LILIN Viewer for me to the camera specified. I can then, if I wish, look at the alarm logs, and there's the alarm, and I can go live or hit on the playback option, and we'll go to playback of that event. There we go, me holding the cup. If you have LILIN Viewer and an Apple Watch, you can also get notifications to your watch. So here, LILIN Viewer's come up. When I swipe down, it tells me the MVR and I had an alarm. Of course, I then have to launch the app on my phone. You can't launch it on your watch as yet. So this final video, I just want to show you how the MVR works again. So I'm actually going to record it live on my phone, But in order to show you how the app works as well, I'm actually going to screen record me recording from my phone. So that's quite complicated. You'll see what I mean. So we've got a little video running there, telling you to step into the box on the floor and look at the camera. I'm going to look at the camera. It's fine, I'd be okay to enter there, but I'm going to make myself too hot with the cup of water, hot water. You'll hear the audible alarm from the MVR there. It's gone full screen like I wanted, because you may have noticed I had 4 cameras on there, over 10. I'm now showing you my screen. I've got a push notification. I press that and the app launches straight away. So all in all, a very, very good solution. So that was the camera and MVR. The third and final solution we have is the camera and our AI navigator system, where we use both temperature and mask detection. Just like the previous 2 solutions, I'm just going to show you a short video first, and then we'll go into more detail. Just to let you know, all the videos I've shown today are available on our various YouTube channels, if you found them helpful. So this solution uses the nav 6001 AI-M. So you get the camera and the mask detection AI server. We can use it as 1 channel of AI mask detection and then 3 more channels of normal 1080p recording. As you saw in the video, the beauty of this particular solution is not only can we have temperature recording, we can do it in conjunction with mask detection as well, which is a very big subject at the moment, and of course in a lot of countries and a lot of places where masks are becoming mandatory. So let's have a look how we build a solution. Now, the first video I'll show you is just Jessica in our office. I've added the camera to the navigator system already, but haven't done anything clever with it. So it's just a 1080p stream coming through to the navigator. So when she walks into view, all we'll see is a person on the screen. Now, what I'm looking to do in this next few videos with you is actually build a solution where we have 3 levels. I want it to stop somebody entering the building if they're over temperature. I want to stop people entering the building if they're not wearing a mask, and only tell them they can enter the building if they are in under temperature and wearing a mask. So we're going to build it in stages. So the first thing we're going to do is enter the menu of the camera by right-clicking and going to Camera, Properties, and Alarm Management. And what we're going to do is we're going to set it so you must be wearing a mask. So I'm going to set this as condition 2 because I want to build it with you. So I go to ADA Behavior and Options. Here I have mask detection. And I'm only interested if somebody's not wearing a mask or they're not wearing it correctly. So I've set that. Now I need to set the output. I'm going to play a sound. I want that to be an audible sound, and I want it to tell them to put a mask on. So these are preloaded.
Please wear a mask.
Messages already in Navigator, but you can add your own if you wish. And I also want it to come up with some text overlay so they can visibly see on the screen the message as well. So just to go through what we did there again, we entered the menu, we went into a condition, and we said, if somebody's not wearing a mask or not wearing a mask correctly, we want an audible alarm, please wear a mask, and we want a text message on the screen also. So in this video now, I've recorded the monitor output. Jessica's going to walk into the scene with a mask on. So that's fine. No messages, nothing to worry about. When she removes the mask,
please wear a mask.
You can see straight away, we've got a visible indication on the screen and a notification that came through the audio output. So that's stage one done. If somebody's not wearing a mask, we're going to let them know. Now we want to measure their temperature. So again, we go back into the camera menus and into alarm management. I'm going to set this one up as condition 3 because I've already got condition 2. That's for the mask. So temperature detection options. I'm now going to set a high temperature. So this is anyone over 38 will create an alarm for me. Again, I'm going to play a sound, but this time with a different pre-recorded message.
Temperature too high.
And again, I want the text overlay. So now we've set mask detection on condition 2 and temperature detection if they're over temperature on condition 3. So let's run the video and have a look. So
please wear a mask.
Already no mask and a temperature
too high.
It's too high. So this is great. We've set our first 2 alarms to deny entry. Now we want to let somebody know that they can actually enter. So the third and final alarm I'm going to set is to allow this to happen. So again, into the camera menus, and I'm going to set this as condition 1. I've done them backward, I know. So condition 1, I'm going to set aider behavior. So this is for the mask. So I'm going to go across the mask detection, and I'm going to say if they're wearing a mask, I want to have this alarm. And then I'm going to do temperature detection, and I'm going to set if their temperature is normal between these 2 set parameters that I've set. I then unlogic the alarms because I want them both to happen before I get my audio output, which is going to be access granted.
Access granted.
And my text overlay finally. So Jessica enters the scene, hopefully wearing a mask. Oh, I need to start it first, sorry. We can see she has a mask. I'm going to read her temperature next.
Access granted.
Temperature, perfect. And she's allowed entry. Now, the beauty of Navigator is we could set lots of different outputs as well. For those of you eagle-eyed, you may have noticed we could do things like a relay output as well. So we could trigger actually a door to open or a light, as you saw in the videos. Lots of things we can do in Navigator. We can also do push notifications. There's so much, so many possibilities. Let's have a look at the playback now that we've got these events. So on my channel, I just go to playback and select playback. We've now got a calendar search, so I can search for lots of things within Navigator, but I'm interested in things like over temperature and not wearing a mask. So in my select mode, I actually select alarm. Now I've got to search for specific events. Lots of different events here that are available on Navigator, but as I said, we're interested in over temperature and not wearing a mask. So those two are already ticked. I did that earlier. And then hit OK. And on the right-hand side, I've now got filtered search, including time, camera number, and actually what the event was. So I'm going to select one of these events for somebody not wearing a mask. And we'll see straight away, Jasmine wasn't wearing a mask. Nope. Search another one, not wearing a mask. This time, Jessica's not wearing a mask. So that's playback on Navigator. Just doing that a few times. I'm going to close that down now. And I'm going to use an application which is also included in Navigator called Database Manager. This loads a database. And within that, I can actually search for all those events here as a database. And I could export these via CSV if I wished. It displays the temperature and whether they had a mask. And if I want, I can highlight one of these, right click on it, and go straight to playback from this page as well. So this happened at 10:30, 54 seconds. They weren't wearing a mask, but the temperature was okay. And that's Jasmine there. You can see temperature's fine, but she's not wearing a mask. So we wouldn't normally let her in. She'd be getting the warning, please wear a mask. So to summarize what we've just done, we've created a series of alarms that would say, if you were over temperature and had a mask on, we'd still let you know. You wouldn't be allowed in. If you were under temperature but didn't have a mask on, we wouldn't let you in. The only way we would let you in is if you were under temperature and had a mask on. I think it's important to reiterate the best practice tips. The camera is only as good as the person installing it. It has to be installed correctly. So remember, internal use, distance 50 to 80 centimeters away from the person's forehead for an accurate reading, between 180 and 2 meters high, the camera. Avoid installing it in direct sunlight and avoid reflective backgrounds. One final video, just showing you it working in the USA.
Please, wear a face mask. Please, wear a face mask.
So that was just a final clip. I had to cut the video short because it goes into another solution for you. So that's the end of our temperature detection part, where we had the 3 different solutions. Another solution we have is our ADA solution, where we're looking at mask detection and social distancing. Of course, you've already seen a little bit of ADA because that's how we did our mask detection with our temperature camera. But mask detection can also be used as a standalone product as well. You don't have to integrate it with temperature if you don't want. Let's just have a quick look at a little video about mask detection for you.
Today, we are each aware of the current spread of the virus known as the coronavirus, or COVID-19, which continues to spread and grow in our global community. Right now, the question on everyone's mind is how to safely resume everyday activities. Face masks are an important part of the solution. LILIN is doing our part by offering technology tools to help combat COVID-19. LILIN's AI-based mask detection technology is able to accurately detect whether each person is wearing a face mask and whether the face mask is being worn appropriately. This technology is able to accurately read whether a mask is being worn even when other apparel such as hats and helmets are present. Please, wear a face mask. Even where large volumes of foot traffic exist, LILIN's face mask detection is able to accurately read whether each individual is wearing a mask appropriately. This means that LILIN can offer critical tools to the venues where the need is most urgent, such as airports, customs and border crossings, train and bus stations, shopping malls and retail outlets, government buildings, streets, hospitals and healthcare centers, or other public places where a need exists. Our mask detection technology works as a standalone system or as an integrated part of a larger security application. LILIN is ready to do our part to support the global community during this difficult situation.
So you saw in the video just shown that mask detection, as well as having the single person at a time, like we obviously do when we have temperature reading, because we want to read the temperature as well, we can actually set large areas for face detection, and it works very, very effectively. This is just a still from the actual engine itself, the GUI, where we can set up mask detection, and you can see, as you did in the video, it would detect all of these people even walking at a fast pace. Very, very powerful tool. And again, just a quick little video here showing how effective it is. So we're detecting people who are wearing masks, people who aren't wearing masks, and of course people who are wearing masks incorrectly. The second license we're going to look at in our ADA solution today is social distancing. So again, this comes underneath our human detection engine. We have different engines, which I'll summarise a little bit later for you. So we've looked at mask detection. Let's have a look at some social distancing. So within the GUI itself, here I've chosen, rather than mask, I've chosen people density. And I've actually drawn an area, which you can see here. Now this area, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say people density, 2 people can come into this area. So as the second person enters, so any 2, it will create an alarm for us to let us know, because there should only be 1 person in this area. Let's run the video. Again, it's important to tell you this was filmed before social distancing. So the people enter the area, Steve's in the area. Darren's about to cross the threshold. Once he's entered the area, we can see there the little icon appeared to let me know, and that would create an alarm if we wished it to. There's 2 people in an area. Now, of course, 1 and 2 people are very low numbers. We can set this between 10 people, 20 people, 30 people, lots of things we can do. I'm now running the same video, but I'm going to set it to 3 people and show you the video again from the start. Apply that. Go back live. This time, Darren enters the area, no alarm goes off because it's expecting 2 people. It will only create an alarm when there's 3 people or more. So this is people density, we call it, and this is available as an ADA license within the human engine. The next license we have is social distancing. So I've increased the area this time where I've drawn my zone. I can draw 4 zones. So zone 1, and I've actually put in the measurements of the zone. So the zone is 4 meters by 4 meters, and I want to know if anyone's coming in within 2 meters of each other. The metadata is obviously looking for people, and I've enabled social distancing. So now we'll run the video. Straight away, I've got a freeze frame at the beginning. We can see that they're both in the zone because the zone is now here, and they're only 1.26 meters away from each other. So this line means it's creating an alarm for me. And we'll run the video. So as they come out the zone, the line disappears. As they re-enter the zone in a second, there we go. And it actually tells me the distance that they're away from each other. So you can see when Darren approaches Steve and he gets too close, closer than 2 meters, we'll get an indicator again. There we go, 1.36. Just over a meter. So those were 2 of the licenses available, and you've heard me mention before the engines. ADA's come in with 4 different engines: AMPR, car make, traffic, and human. And then within those engines, there's different licenses you can purchase, and each engine uses different amount of processing power. So we actually call them ADA points, and we actually tell you on the license how many ADA points your engine uses. So our traffic engine uses 4 ADA points. So these are the different licenses available, and they all do different things within traffic. Now, if you chose to use 2 ADA licenses on 1 channel, so you purchased 1 channel of ADA flow and ADA area, even though you've got 2 licenses, you only use 4 points per engine. So we could have all of these licenses under traffic management engine, and we would still only be using 4 ADA points. We then have the human engine, which has 3 licenses at the moment, and they're all 1 ADA point. I believe this may be a typo. I will confirm that. Car make, so this is for car make, and then AMPR, we have 2 licenses available at the moment. Full list on our DDNS website where you can purchase the licenses from. So why LILIN? Well, I've shown you quite a detailed overview of our temperature solutions, the 3 solutions we have available: standalone camera, camera and NVR, and camera and mask AI navigator server. I've also shown you a very quick overview of the ADA platform, and there will be more details of the ADA platform to follow. So why should you choose us? Well, we operate worldwide with branch offices in 12 countries and a global distribution network that provides our customers with local support. We are agile and able to adapt to changing circumstances, as evidenced by the creation of mass detection or the temperature detection cameras, which we've developed and deployed within a 4-month period. We form strong innovative partnerships with companies such as Intel in order to create high quality products. Another key partnership we have is with Deloitte in Taiwan, who have helped us create a strong cybersecurity framework that tests both new and existing products to prevent against cyber attacks. We have excellent in-house research and development teams and are continually improving our product design. We offer full scalability product solutions from homes to commercial sites to government projects such as the Taiwanese subway. We have a huge platform of online resources available, including our knowledge base with a wide range of references and how-to documents, and we have unparalleled local technical support. And I know that's the same in all of our offices around the world. So thank you for taking the time to join us today. I hope you found this webinar valuable. As I mentioned at the beginning, this webinar has been recorded and an access link will be sent to you either later today or early tomorrow by email. I do have a few minutes left to answer any questions you might have. So I'm going to start looking for those now. Again, if I don't speak to you before the end, thank you for taking the time to attend today. I hope you found it informative. Stay safe, but I hope you do join me in the Q&A.